Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Ramp, and I'm here to usher you into the middle of the week. Since we do our show every Wednesday and Friday, I only get to talk about some of the things that happened during the middle of the week. And also, but of course, Friday is a nice way to interlude through the weekend. So this is the weekday show. Friday is more of our weekend show. So let's kick things off with a little thing about weather. So it is cold out there, people. It is officially winter. My hands are drying out like crazy. It is currently 25 degrees outside. You have that dense fog until about now, basically. 9 a.m. is when the dense fog advisory warning is about to be lifted. Today, you can expect some little fog and then slight chance of rain with a 20% chance. Your high is going to be in your 60s, so the weather's going to warm up a little bit. Maybe some of that fog is going to help keep the heat in from yesterday, and maybe some of the sun will make it even warmer today. But of course, tonight you have that 40% chance of rain with lows into 30s. Your high is going to be into the 50s for the next couple days with mostly sunny skies. So it's good sweater weather for anybody who's interested in partaking in some outdoor recreational activity. It's going to be clear outside. It's a good way to work up a sweat because it's a lot harder to work out a sweat when it's too hot outside. So it's just perfect for those of you who like to wear sweat and sweats. So anyways, let's talk about some things that are happening in the news today. Troy Basher, former music teacher at Frenchtown High School, has been charged with misdemeanor sexual assault last March, now confirmed as a former student came forward about inappropriate touching and an attempted kissing by Basher. Frenchtown Superintendent Randy Klein said, "In the best interest of Frenchtown school community, Mr. Basher will be on leave with pay indefinitely." Klein said during this time, he will not perform any duties on behalf of the district. In other news, Grizz football player is being charged with felony assault when Justin Strong, free safety for the University of Montana Grizzlies, claimed that he was breaking up a fight. But as more evidence and restatements by witnesses, this has become a very he said, she said kind of situation for sure. Code of Conduct states that the athletic director or his or her designee shall take preliminary action to temporarily suspend a student athlete from participating in practice, competition, and or access to athletic department services when a student athlete has been charged with a felony. The suspension is indefinite pending the outcome of criminal proceedings and disciplinary action by the ACT, which as soon as possible shall be informed by the AD or designee of temporary suspension and meet to discuss the issue. So the whole idea is that once it gets cleared up on the court system, it has to be cleared up by the university's own system as well later on. His bail was set at $50,000 via a telephonic hearing, but he was released on his own recognizance on Monday morning. So that's kind of what's happening here locally in Missoula. But let's talk about some of the state stuff that is happening here. Confederate monument removals, along with requests by some of the tribal representatives that Mountain and Valley in Yellowstone National Park, named in honor of racist men, be changed. What this year of major change of certain monuments that have gathered controversy from clashing cultures in the past, which resulted in many human rights violations, would have never been considered at that time, which are now being considered at this time. The current political climate in Washington, whereas President Trump almost daily bullies anyone who contradicts him, some of Trump's views are echoed by his appointees. Secretary of the Interior Ryan Zinke said no monuments would be removed from federal land during his watch. Some of tribal members' spirits seemed revived following the Standing Rock protests and the Dakota Access Pipeline in North Dakota last winter, which drew national attention along with some celebrity support. Whether you agree with the changes in names or monuments or not, the open communication is a nice starting point that many people in the eastern Montana and North Dakota areas are pushing for fair representation of all history, not just Euro-American. So anyways, let's talk about some national news. Of course, this is an article that I read at NPR, which I constantly, when I was reading it, I was like, is this an Onion article? But this is the tagline. Majority of whites Americans say they believe whites face discrimination. In a story in the Onion, NPR, according to the poll released Tuesday from NPR, yes, it's the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, says if you apply for a job, they seem to give the blacks the first crack at it, said 68-year-old Tim Hirschman of Akron, Ohio. And basically, if you want to help from the government, if you're white, you don't get it. If you're black, you get it. More than half of whites, 55% of the survey, said that generally speaking, they believe that there is discrimination against white people in America today. Hirschen's view is similar to what has heard on the campaign trail at Trump rally after Trump rally. Trump catered to the white grievances during the 2016 presidential campaign and has done so as president as well. Regardless of how discriminated you feel, you still get paid more than non-whites and women. The responses for whites can be broken down into three categories: those who believe that anti-white discrimination and say that they have personally experienced it. Two, say that indeed anti-white discrimination, but say they have never felt it themselves. And three, say there is no discrimination of whites in America. This is a real story. There are some whites out there that feel they don't believe and scoff off the idea. Yes, that's me. I scoff at the idea. But the story was written by white guys and researched by white guys. The question from NPR story I'll leave you with is to think about is, did Trump create or significantly boost white resentment overall, or did he simply tap into the trend with deep roots and history? So that's it for all the news items that are on here. I got some guests on talking about Meals on Wheels program. So we got the Missoula Agent Service on, and I'll be right back after this. Hi guys, we're back here with Kent, Greg, and Colleen Kernan. They're all here representing Meals on Wheels program through the Missoula Agent Services. So one of the questions that I was asked to ask you guys is how many meals are delivered here in Missoula?
Last year we delivered over 100,000 meals.
Wow.
To our homebound population.
That's a lot.
It is.
And that's just the Missoula area?
Just Missoula County, yeah.
That's great. Well, what does it mean? What is Meals on Wheels, particularly?
Well, Meals on Wheels is a program that we have for our homebound adults here in Missoula County. So whether you are temporarily homebound, let's say you had hip replacement surgery and you're unable to prepare food for yourself or get to the grocery store, then that's when we can come in and help out, get that good nutrition, which also aids in the healing process.
Cool.
So.
And you guys have been with the Meals on Wheels program for some time, right? Yes. Tell me about each of your experiences. Let's start with you, Ken.
Oh, I started probably a year and a half ago, about the same time Greg did, I think. And I just substitute. When Colleen needs somebody, she calls me, or that's pretty much it. She texts me too quite a bit. Yeah, I get a lot of text from her. And I just go in when she needs me.
Yep.
Yeah, I like Ken said, we started about the same time, about a year and a half ago. And I also am just a substitute driver that Colleen calls when she needs, which is quite
often,
regular.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
I was just going to say, I call these guys our super subs. I have a handful of super subs where it is on a moment's notice. Their schedules are incredibly flexible and they're both so generous. And that's what we're recruiting for, is that substitute role where a person would start out on an as needed basis, and then eventually as routes open up,
Yeah.
then we can plug people into a regular position. But it's super helpful to have super subs like these guys.
Yes, and that was one of the things that Kim Hutchinson, she asked me to ask you specific questions about like how you're looking for specific substitute drivers, not just Meals on Wheels drivers, but you're looking for more substitute drivers.
Yep, to fill in on a moment's notice. So we deliver Monday through Friday, and we have 16 routes each day. Approximately 300 meals a day go out, and I try to keep the routes to about 20 clients on each route. But yeah, if a person wanted to be a substitute Meals on Wheels driver, that go through the same process to volunteer for any position at Missoula Aging. You fill out the application. You can find that online at our website, www.missoulaagingservices.org.
And we have the website right here as soon as I can get it up. Come on, mouse. There we go. There it is. There's a website, Missoulians Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a great website, great resource for people who want to volunteer, but also get services from Missoula Aging Services, hence the namesake.
Yeah.
So it is a great program, and you guys are do a really great job. And you also do a lot of March for Meals too. Of course, you know you guys always come on. You always come on talk about March for Meals as well.
Yes.
But you always are looking for volunteers, as much help as you can possibly need for anybody who can drive.
Yes.
And it has the time to do it, because usually you guys do it between the times of like 10 a.m. until you basically deliver all your meals.
Yep, so the timeline is 10 till about 1:32. Of course, if you're driving a shorter route, you'd be through much sooner than that.
Yeah.
But one thing that I really want to talk about that I was hoping you guys could talk about too is very naturally a dynamic between our clients and our drivers happens. And it's just wonderful. So not only are we promoting the independence and dignity and health of the people that we're serving, we're also getting that good nutrition in, of course. And when Greg or Kent or any of our other drivers come in and bring that food, it provides a daily check-in too. So I think that is equally as important as the good nutrition.
Absolutely.
So you guys, as substitute drivers, you get basically a diversity of routes, because there's some people who are pretty much strict to a certain route, a fixed route. Thank you. And you guys just kind of come in and just be like, I just want to help with whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. You can go from Lolo Creek to Clinton and
To
Rattlesnake and
French
way out west of town.
Frenchton, yeah.
So do them all.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what most people are surprised to know is like it's not just the city of Missoula; it's Missoula County, and Missoula County spans miles.
Yeah.
And these two are, walking GPSs on their own. They have no trouble. I know that I can hand them the manifest and a map, and they will get the meals to the folks.
I got to confess that this gets me a lot of places. It hasn't been natural for me because I don't know the city that well. I've lived here for all my adult life, but I need that help occasionally. She gives you maps if you don't have a GPS, but.
Yeah, I mean, the ever-growing Missoula County and Missoula City. Like, even my dad is a retired postal worker, and he's like, what is this street? I was like, oh, yeah, it's a new neighborhood. It's like, really? Already? Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And Greg here is a retired city worker, and he's the authority. He knows how to get to every place, every street.
Not quite.
I mean, like, for me, getting places is always like, okay, what business is it next to? And then I just go from there. It's a lot easier for me to know it that way. It's like, oh, it's by
landmarks.
just. But yeah, let's get back to some of the drivers. So what does it take to be a Meals on Wheels driver?
It takes a clean driving record, number one. The flexibility of schedule. I coordinate all of the routes each day, and because of our volunteers and their flexibility, it really makes my job a heck of a lot easier, because I know, okay, so-and-so is available on Tuesdays, and if I have somebody call off on a Tuesday, I'll be like, oh, I need to call Greg, or I need to call Kent, or I need to call whomever, and so I'm looking at the flexibility of a person's schedule quite often, and I'm able to work around it because of the generosity of our volunteers and the generosity of time too.
Well, if you're looking for drivers, or if you're interested in, if you know somebody also, just because you can't do it doesn't mean you don't know someone who can do it. So basically, where can people find more information?
If you just go to our website at MissouliAgingServices.org, there's, if you go to the nutrition section, there are applications online to get going to volunteer, and also information about our Meals on Wheels program, as well as the multitude of other programs that we have at Missoula Aging.
Yep, and you also have a number on here as well if people want to if people want to call.
Yeah.
And it's right there,
728-7682.
Cool. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up?
Well, I'd like to say that to me it's actually kind of a privilege to be able to do this, because not only do you meet wonderful people in the drivers and the staff, but the clients that we serve are so diverse, and to me it's very rewarding, and I would encourage anybody to sign up and jump on board.
Yeah.
And it makes me active. I love being active. You know, I had a whole career working in the woods, and all of a sudden I retire, and I got my feet on the ground, but it's fun to do. And like Greg says, you get out and meet all these people that I didn't know, and it feels good.
Nice. Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. MissouliAgingServices.org for more information. Good luck. And you guys have meals to deliver today as well.
Yes, we do.
All right.
We're out to get the meals out.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
She's one of those people. It's almost the opposite of me and Liz.
So this is dyed rice.
Dyed rice.
Okay.
She hand dyes all the rice.
Cool.
And then
this is a collage.
Yeah. And then the string, I don't know, the Native American string painting. I don't know if you've, I know a few people in town who do that. Mm-hmm. But she just did it just out of found materials type of a thing. Like, what can I use in my house that, I can be resourceful, and inventive. And she thought she was the first one to ever do this kind of stuff. And it cracked me up because my Tim's aunt, my husband's aunt, actually did some of that.
Well, and I used to, of course, in grade school, use beans and hard
pasta.
Yeah, pasta and dried peas and
yes.
and work in a fashion of collage and filling in. And this relates to a really old art form. Which,
Yes.
The enameling and different things that you applied in this way. Man.
Again, the theater was built in 1937, and after some attempt at restoration, the original sign was taken down before the fire, by the way. It had been replaced, and it's this flat, it's kind of greenish. It had been kind of, defiled of its original Art Deco glory. And when they rebuilt, they brought it back the same way. That's what insurance money allowed them to do. And at some point in the early 2000s, they put in a wedge marquee, which was more practical. So anyway, they brought that in, which was functional, but it wasn't aesthetically in line with the theater. The facade remained. That was the only thing that they were able to keep. The entire theater was gutted, and the doors were needed replacing, of course. So it's part of bringing me on as the executive director. There's a Wildlife Film Festival that owned this building, and so people thought of this building as just where the Wildlife Film Fest was. And the programming that we started.
I think that what we're most excited about is that we now will have the opportunity to work more with the users and have more user contact than what we get right now. If we get a lineup of 4 people at the reference desk, it's pretty hard to spend a half hour with somebody in doing research. But because we'll be able to repurpose other staff to answer phones and do that type of thing, it will free up staff to spend more time with the patrons. And that's what the library is about, is the users, not about us. So we're really excited that we're going to get to have that opportunity.
Hey guys, welcome back. I just want you to know that the Missoula City Band is brand new tonight on MCAT. I didn't have a video clip of that. It will be available tonight on airing on our channel on channel 189. But of course, I'll show you a little bit of a tease this Friday as well. But of course, the L's in the background. You know what that means. It's time for some city council. Let's talk about some things that are happening here in the city of Missoula. There's not much. City council happens every Monday at 7 p.m. and I'm just kind of vamping as I'm trying to find the right. Okay, here we go. So basically, there's a couple public comments, and one of them was basically getting rid of the leaves here in the city of Missoula. So here is Wes Amsdale. He talks a little bit about some of the issues he has with leaf removal during the fall season as it transitions into winter.
I guess you could say that's my tough luck for living there, but if the people can't put it into the street, they aren't going to come down to my yard as much. Keep in mind, twice in the last 6 years, they've not even been able to pick them up at all because snow comes down and covers it up, and then they have to wait till spring. So now it's the gift that keeps on giving, and it keeps coming into my yard all winter and all spring, because our neighborhood doesn't get the street cleaners come through until generally the end of May. I am on the neighborhood council, and the recent survey by Jane Kelly of the wishes of the people in the neighborhood, no one asked for leaves to be continued to be picked up, but third on the list was snow removal. And so I would like to ask you or somebody to let the neighborhoods decide if they want leaves to be picked up, or if more of that money, instead of picking up leaves, could be spent on actually fixing the roads in the neighborhood, or for snow removal or snow plowing of the roads. Anyway, thanks for your time.
All right, so currently the city of Missoula does street cleaning areas between April and June. Those are the particular times when they do any kind of like street cleaning. I think there's also a time in October. It's the second Tuesday of the month. I think that already passed, but that's some of the things that the city does on a more of an annual basis. I think 3 times a year for street cleaning. So that's kind of what's happening with that. Of course, more on this, Jesse Ramos basically talks on of that previous public comment and talks about some of the solutions that the city of Missoula can do to help remedy this.
The Missoula City Cemetery employs 7 full-time employees. The Sunset Cemetery, owned by Rick Evans, employs 2.5. And Rick's cemetery buries twice as many people. I'm not suggesting that we cut down on how many folks that we employ at the Missoula City Cemetery, but what I am suggesting is that in the winter, they don't have nearly as much to do. There's not grass to clip, there's not stones to polish, there's not weeds to be weed-whacked. But what they could do, because a lot of them are qualified to operate heavy machinery, why couldn't we cross-train them to maybe run a snowplow? I know the mayor recently talked about wanting to hire a full-time snowplow driver. So instead of doing that, why can't we cross-train one of the cemetery workers that isn't as, I don't think I'm close enough, but somebody that isn't as busy during the winter time, and then obviously the snowplow truck driver, he wouldn't be as busy in the summertime because he wouldn't have snow to plow. So why can't we cross-train some of these folks that aren't as busy during the off-season and put them to work in other areas, especially since a lot of them already have licenses to do so?
All right, so that was Jesse Ramos. He is running for Ward 4, but also an interesting tidbit that I just learned about him is apparently he is the Paul's Pancake Parlor Dynasty here in Missoula. I just like saying that. But anyways, other than that, they had a summer update by the Missoula In Motion Bike Ambassadors who talked with folks about bike riding and encouraging incoming students to bring their bikes with them when they come here. The bond, of course, the bonds for sidewalk improvement districts were up for sale. It was a 2-year deal to improve various streets throughout the city, sewers, sidewalks, various things that are on the side of the street along the way. But of course, it was approved by vote. It was it was pretty by the books, meaning nothing too fancy, but if you want to watch, you can always go to ci.missoula.mt.us. It's a wonderful website where anybody who is interested in following the city of Missoula current and upcoming meetings, they can look it up by going on this wonderful website. Today, they're going to be they're going to be interviewing the 9 candidates who's going to replace Ruth Ann Sweeney's Ward 2 seat. It's Ruth Ann Sweeney, just this this month basically announced that she's going to basically left almost like the day after she announced her her departure. She's just like, oh, I'm leaving, see you. I don't know if that's how it is, but that's yeah, I mean, she served with the city of Missoula, and now they're looking for a new spot. And of course, each of the city council members nominated people, which accumulated to about 9 people. So basically, on Monday the 23rd, the city council, each city council member selected one person to interview for an open position. Names of the selected candidates will be drawn to be determined in interview order. Half interviews will be scheduled during the committee of the whole today, this afternoon. But of course, they might have to extend it to November if necessary. Candidates will also be given a set of written interview questions to complete. Responses to be written interview questions are due November 2nd, 2017 at 5 p.m. and will be posted on the website on November 3rd. They will basically, the state mandates is that they have to basically have a suitable replacement within 30 days of a ward member's departure, basically. So, and of course, they have a quarterly update to the city council on activities of the Missoula Economic Partnership. So that's one of the things that are definitely very interesting here in Missoula. I'll talk about that Friday during the show, because usually when it comes to Missoula economics, it's always interesting to see how the Missoula business districts and all that stuff evolves over time, especially nowadays. It's really exciting to kind of see what's going on with the city of Missoula. But that about does it for all your city council stuff. I do have a brand new Dubbin Stuff. And it's from Dixiana, so it's like I guess it's basically in New Orleans, Louisiana, or New Orleans for some people. Sorry. I'll just play the video, and then when I come back, I'll talk about events that are happening inside the city of Missoula. There's a lot going on. Stay with me.
Arrived.
Oh, I beg your pardon, sir. Would you be so kind to step off from that dangerous table and dance with me?
Just between you and me, I have a fear of low places.
Let me help you down. Yo! Not quite as young as I used to be, my dear, but I can still hold my own in a fight against a lion. Of course, I must use a gun after all, my dear.
Oh, I just love it when a witch, white male, kills lions.
Did you just call me a witch?
Who would forever, what reason, a witch, why, witch? Oh, I didn't give consent.
Ow, that hurt very much. My dear, it's you.
You know, one of these days you're going to have to remember my name. It's Agatha Amelia Earhart. Mwah. Now don't get me going.
I'll get you going. Just smile. Doop-a-doop. Hello? Oh, hey. Yo, what's up, dude? Yo. Hey, man, what's going on?
Man, don't get me going.
You know, that lady is quite a fetching young lady. Well, yes, she is. You know, she sometimes tastes like cigars. Wouldn't know anything about that. How would you? You my most trusted consort. You even know what that word means? Well, no, but, you know, it sounds fancy enough. Oh, I got no time for this. I best be going right now, through, you know, certain things, but good day to you, sir. I think you meant good night. I don't know about that guy. He seems kind of shifty indeed. Best be following him.
Hey guys, welcome back. Now let's talk about events that are happening inside the city of Missoula. Kicking things off this morning here inside the city of Missoula. I keep on saying city of Missoula. It's like it's like me saying a lot. So anyways, kids bounce and playtime. 10 a.m. Missoula Indoor Sports Arena and Roots Acro Sports Center at 11 a.m. So some of the things that kids can do, some bouncing and tricks and stuff in some bounce pits and whatnot. So, of course, if they're not interested in doing some flips and being physical, they can learn some science sprouts, everything pumpkins. Learn about pumpkins, everything pumpkins. Science Sprouts is an early childhood program for kids age 2 to 5, and of course they must be accompanied by an adult. Come experience hands-on science with your early childhood explorer in their new location at 812 Toole Avenue, but of course they'll be moving along with us in a couple of years to the Missoula Public Library. It's $350 per person, age 1 and older, which includes museum admission. Members receive a 10% discount. Contemporary issues in Southeast Asia, starting at the University of Montana at noon. The Mansfield Center of Brown Bag Lecture Series with Southeast Asia Fellows and the YSEALI Professional Fellows Program. It's a special offering at the U.S. Department of State. Southeast Asia is a vibrant and rapidly developing region with many activities, active and engaged young leaders who are seeking to meet head-on Sorry, the grammar's terrible in this. I didn't actually write this. To meet head-on challenges facing the region. Mr. Yang Donal of the Wildlife Conservation Society in Cambodia, Mr. Chazi Samwang of Save the Children International in Laos, Ms. Nao Pao En of Youth Circle Myanmar, Ms. Kath Kanambun of the Thai Transgender Alliance in Thailand, and Ms. Tao Chai Chow of Change, which is an acronym, Change, in Vietnam will discuss how they are working to address issues like education, human rights, and conservation. So that's what they're going to be talking about. It's a lot of information for sure. And there's going to be a lot of speakers, so it should be really interesting. And I think they've done this last year as well. I thought it was very interesting last year, and I showed some clips as well during our Meg segment. So Windows 10, let's move on to the next topic. Windows 10 is starting at 12:30 at the Missoula Public Library. If you're interested in learning about Windows 10 and figuring out how to get out of that weird app screen and going on to the desktop, you just want to see the desktop. You don't want to see the app screen. The app screen's like, okay, that's only if I want to choose a specific app, but I need to figure out how to get to the desktop. Apparently, you just hit the Windows key on your computer on your what's that? If I can't get past thinking of the word keyboard, I can't show you guys anything about Windows 10. Moving on, middle school writers group is happening at the public library, so any middle school writer who's between the 5th and 9th grade can come on down to the Missoula Public Library to improve their writing skills. Sugar Skull Workshop is at the Temple House, and it's HAUS. Sugar Skulls Workshop is going to be going on through Monday through Friday, and it's all at 5:15 p.m. So you can check that out. They're going to be doing this. These are also the part of the parade prep days, so they are thankful for everyone's help in making skulls to be freely distributed at the annual Festival of the Dead procession. The Dia de los Muertos in downtown Missoula is on November 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. So Rose Park Neighborhood Council Leadership Team Meeting is at the Jack Reedy Conference Room starting at 6 p.m. tonight. Agenda items include public comment and non-agenda items, announcements, and discussion of neighborhood issues. So if you're in the Rose Park neighborhood, it's a great way, and then their council is going to be meeting at the Jack Reedy Room. Community workshop, Unmasking Grief, Tamara Grief Resource Center at 6 p.m. Adults grieving the death of a loved one can drop by the Tamara Grief Resource Center for some tools and basically free. It's free and no registration is necessary. It's just a great way for people to gather and talk about grief and loss of a loved one. And that happens from 6 to 7:15 p.m. at the Tamara Grief Resource Center. Women's Comedy Hour, completely switching gears whatsoever, is going to be at the Badlander. So this is for ladies and non-binary folk, a place to talk about comedy and stand-up. Come to the Badlander on every last Wednesday of the month for an hour of women talking with women about comedy. Bring new bits, unfold notes on napkins, try your material, talk soup, brainstorm a project, or just laugh and network with other funny women. They don't care if you've been up on a comedy scene for years or if you haven't even been on stage once. It's a great way. It's free, and it happens at 6 p.m. And basically, I mean, if you guys encourage each other well enough at the Badlander, you guys can do a comedy stand-up mic night starting at 7:30 p.m., which goes until about 9 p.m. There's UM Big Band Concert, basically wrapping up your Wednesday night. UM Big Band Concert, Artistry in Rhythm. University of Montana hosts the big band music of Stan Kenton will feature all 4 jazz bands plus special guest artist, trombonist, composer, arranger, and Kenton Band alumni Robert Conroe, one of the best-known arrangers of our generation, who comes to Missoula for the first jazz residency of the school year, paying tribute to big band legend Stan Kenton with the Big Bands. Denison Theater is happening 7:30 p.m. tonight. And only tonight from what I see right here, so this will be your only chance to check out some of this big band swinging music from the 50s. So check it out. And that basically is everything to do with Wednesday. Here's a kind of a flyover view. They have some DJ music at VFW. You got press box, trivia night, karaoke at Eagles Lodge, Badlander, and Sunrise Saloons. Let's talk about some Thursday events right now before I wrap up the show. Thursday, Tiny Tales is happening at the library, starting at 10:30 a.m. If you're interested in other story times somewhere else, the Families First Children Museum hosts a story time from 11 to 12 at Families First Children's Museum just off of Front Street. A discussion on challenges of reentry and integration. Missoula City Council Chambers is hosting a free community discussion on challenges of reentry and integration of those returning from incarceration. Adrian Cotton, DOC Government Affairs Director, will discuss DOC and Sentencing Commission initiatives that affect our community. Returning citizens can share their personal experiences and after their updates with the reintegration programs. So if you are struggling of being in and out of jail and trying to figure out ways to basically stay out of jail, this is a great discussion to go to as well, which happening tomorrow at noon, City Council Chambers. Meditation for Veterans, the Learning Center at Red Willow. So basically it is from 1 p.m. to 1:45, and it teaches guided mindfulness practice exploring the method of paying attention to breath, to increase calm and reduce stress. No previous experience necessary. And it's a great way to kind of relieve some stress, and it's been said to help with some folks who are dealing with PTSD, but it is a solution, but not the solution if you think about it. Make it and take it at the Big Sky branch. Missoula Public Library teams up with Big Sky High School with Make It and Take It, and the today's program offers patrons to carve, paint, or decorate a little pumpkin creation. Pumpkins will be provided for only 10 participants. You can sign up or bring your own pumpkins to decorate, and you can sign up by calling 728-2400, which is the MCPS main phone number, but the extension number is 8605. Kids Bounce and Playtime at 3 p.m. at the Missoula Indoor Sports Arena. So after school, kids can do some after school programs. It's $7 per child, but it's basically a lot of inflated park fun and foam pits and gymnastic type stuff. It's a great way to be physical while staying inside as well as weather gets colder and colder. Cold Springs Elementary Fall Carnival. Cold Springs School I think this is pretty much going to be Cold Springs' last fall carnival as under the name Cold Springs. So you definitely want to check this out. It goes from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday night. There will be games, food, and fun, and it's located at 2625 Bridge Street. Oktoberfest with a K is going to be at Kettle House Brewing Company North Side. Join for the Conservancy in Montana. I'm like totally mispronouncing that word, but they are celebrating Oktoberfest, a month-long effort to highlight the connection between healthy forest, clean water, and great beer in Missoula. Probably more emphasis on the beer. Learn about basically the Western Montana forest work, including research, stewardship, and collaboration with communities. And it also says cheers. I'm just like I usually don't like to promote events that encourage alcohol. That's just my own problem. Gilkey Lecture Series, I'm going to move on. Gilkey Lecture Series, entrepreneur Bill Van Sickle is going to be at the University of Montana 5:30 tomorrow night as part of the Gilkey Executive Lecture Series. The University of Montana School of Business is hosting a discussion with entrepreneur Bill Van Sickle on Thursday, October 26th at 5:30 p.m. It's going to be at the Gallagher Business Building, room 106. They will engage on-stage conversation about his experience as an entrepreneur, including his process for building a positive company culture. Ladies Pottery Painting Night at the Zootown Arts Community Center. Ladies, if you want to do some pottery, Zootown Arts Community Center is the pottery place for you. 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Community Forum, City Council Chambers. If you're interested in, these are where all the neighborhoods in the city of Missoula 20 neighborhoods come together. Your representatives for your neighborhoods. If you don't even know who your neighborhood rep is, then this is the meeting for you. 7 p.m. You get to listen to some of the things that are happening in the neighborhoods. It's a nice discussion, and then of course they give the report to the city council later on, just to kind of see how the city can help deal with some of the issues that are happening in the community, in the neighborhood. So that happening at 7 p.m. tomorrow night at the city council chambers. REI, Outdoor Emergency Basics. Hunting season is upon us. And with outdoor travel in the woods becoming more frequent, it's the best way to do REI is hosting an outdoor emergency basics training for anybody can respond positively to an accident or emergency. Can you safely spend a night or more out? Knowledge is power and preparation is key. Every time you step into the wilderness, be prepared to help yourself and others. So 7 p.m. REI, check that out. Mamma Mia! I'm not just saying that, but it's a play that's happening at MCT, which premieres tomorrow night. It's VIP night. It's going to be going on for a couple weeks. You can check it out. Director Michael McGill, concept of the show, he had hoped to find a cast that could not only rock the music of their powerful voices, but they could create a visually stunning show with their dance skills. And it appears that they've hit the money, and I couldn't be more pleased with the cast and artistic team from Mamma Mia. Christine Pepin, choreographer, and Scott Kojenin, music director, are knocking it out of the park, said Michael McGill. McGill's enthusiasm for the positive energy of the show and the cast is infectious as the ABBA music that feels the score of Mamma Mia. McGill admitted that with a smile that he finds himself constantly singing the catchy tunes like Dancing Queen, Knowing Me, Knowing You, all those great musical pieces that are going to be part of Mamma Mia for the next couple weeks. You'll be hearing it from some of your family members, some of your kids. Mamma Mia is the place to be, and it's going to be at MCT, Missoula Community Theater. And it's going to be happening pretty much every single night at 7:30 p.m., except for Sundays where they have an earlier show at like 6:30. And then, of course, they have matinees on the weekend at 2 p.m., so you guys can check that out. MCT, you can get in contact with them. You can find out more information by going to mctinc.org, only because they don't have the rights to mct.org. It's weird. They should, but that's another discussion for later. Let's talk about some of the things that are happening late night. More trivia is going to be at the Dark Horse Thursday night. You got live jazz at Plonk. You got Sunrise Saloon has country dance it's going to be a rocking country dance party at the Sunrise Saloon. And, of course, Merry Karaoke at the Dark Horse later that night. So there's a lot of stuff happening here in the city of Missoula. You can go to MissoulaEvents.net for all those events and more. But also you can log on to my website, wakeupmissoula.wixsite.com/wakeupmissoula. It's a nice remade. Write it out twice. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow. You can also go to mcat.org. Just so you guys know, orientation is every Wednesday night at 5:30. Here at MCAT, and it basically goes on for about half an hour to an hour, depending upon how many questions you have. It's a great way to get your feet wet when it comes to digital media and basically learning broadcast. It's a great way. It's where I got started, and it's a wonderful thing to do. And if you're interested in learning about it or being a part of it, tonight's the night where you guys can come on down to MCAT at 5:30 p.m. So check it out every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. But of course, MCAT.org is a great resource for anybody who wants to use it. You can submit programs that are coming up on here. Last night, MCAT did 6. Yes, that's right. We did 6 programs last night. I can't name them all, but we did a lot of things in the community which reflect Missoula in a visual media. So you'll be able to hear more about this as we go on further and further. The summer season is pretty much over when it comes to some of the programming that's airing on MCAT. We'll be getting more and more thick with programs and new programs on MCAT later on in the next couple weeks. So I look forward to showing you guys that as well. But of course, every Saturday we have our Saturday drop-in. So for any kids aged around 9 to 13 can come on down for only $10. The flagship kids who are in the MCAT Film Club flagship are welcome to come down to because they get free. Okay, wow. Let me rephrase that. So MCAT's doing a new deal when it comes to some of the flagship after-school programs. If you're in flagship, if you have a kid that's in flagship, MCAT hosts Saturday drop-in animation for free for some of those kids. So they're welcome to come down here, check it out, and see what it's all about. It happens from 1 to 5 every Saturday. I'll talk a little bit more about this on Friday, but thank you for joining me. This Friday we got the Flagship Friday Video of the Week. It's going to be amazing, and we got a lot of other great things. I'm going to talk about some city council, and we're going to talk about some more events that are happening this Friday. But once again, I want to thank Kent, Greg, and Colleen for coming on the show. If you're interested in being basically a relief driver for the Meals on Wheels program, you can go to their website, MissoulaAgingServices.org. You can call them at 728-7682. But of course, if you want more information about MCAT and Missoula's community media resource, you can call us at 542-6228. For Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramp. Thank you for joining me.